Hello. This is once again Write Once, Read Many. This time, it is chapters 19.4 and 19.5. I have made some strange arts for this one, so, there's that. Okay. Well, as a reminder, the audience participation question for this week, 19.4 and 19.5, if you could make a portal into in your city to a fictional world, what would it be? Like, what world would you go to? 2 + 4 × 5 at work. Can't play audio, but might listen during half-hour lunch break in a few minutes. Oh, that's very nice. Well, if during this lunch break you come up with an answer to that question, that would be lovely. But if not, no worries. And then, to sort of explain what you're seeing visually, if you're looking at it, I was doing the art this week, so I just did. This isn't the first thing I made. This is the second thing I made, but I decided to flip the order. I decided that this is Bastard. I was just like trying to think of an idea of something that I could do for the art, and all I could think of was this weird image in my mind of this snarling wolf, and I'm like, that could be Bastard, we could say that. And then I made it with paint. My other image is also made with paint, but I kind of think the other one is better. It's more simple in a way, and we'll see it later. But for now, we get to look at the wolf. And Greg is here. Oh, hi. All right. Well, with that out of the way, themes for these chapters. I didn't actually think of anything specific, but nah, can't think of anything yet. If I think of anything, I will let you know. But didn't actually get to that part. I was too focused on making these 2 weird art pieces I made. So the chapter opens, with Scapegoat complaining about the situation, saying how he had convinced himself that it wasn't going to be as bad as they said on the news, and then it was terrible. And we, just get a long monologue from him about how awful things are. And then, Tattletale gets asked by Tecton if she wants to tear a hole in reality, and she says yes, and that they should probably use Scrub's power because there are some other ones who could do it, but if they use Scapegoat, they'd probably have to do a human sacrifice. So we get the funny moment of Regent going, "It's your job to say no human sacrifices." But Skitter's thinking maybe human sacrifices. So they they talk along through why like this is a good idea. Tattletale is telling them that they'll have to deal with Cauldron, and that Cauldron are the ones who made the Case 53s, because Gully's still in the scene and is importantly focused, of course, on tracking down this information that there are hints of from Tattletale. And she wants to get the travelers on their side, who she is saying are from another world. We, of course, know they're from Earth Aleph, but they don't even know that, so just from somewhere. And so this whole plan hinges on the idea that, and we can sort of piece together from other chapters, that Labyrinth will be able to get to Earth Aleph specifically as a way to buy the travelers into fighting. And then also Tattletale talks about the idea of if they can, open portals to anywhere, they could maybe find the source of powers and shut off certain powers at the source, which is a pretty big revelation that would be possible. And then Tecton's saying, cool your jets. There's been a lot of people who have been like mad scientists like you are right now, Tattletale. I've seen it all the time. And then, Tattletale says some quips. So, Skitter wants to actually get things done in the meantime while they're talking, and goes off with a group. Tecton sends several wards, so it's Gully and who else was it? It's Gully and Wanton go with Scapegoat and who has to say with Skitter and Rachel, or Bitch, or however we want to refer to her. This is one of those mixed chapters where it goes back and forth the entire time. Nobody talks in the back zone. Gully is lost in thought, and Rachel's doing her own thing, and Skitter's like, I could have tried to do a conversation, but I just didn't have it in me. And then she falls asleep for a second until she feels Atlas in her range. Our best friend, LeBug. You know what? I should have drawn Atlas. Maybe next time. But, I can only work on something if I can focus on it, and that's one of my biggest problems in writing and doing art is focusing on whatever I'm supposed to be doing. So if I can only think of this one weird thing that I made as the second image, I guess at least I made something. Anyway, so now that she's got Atlas, she's able to fly around, and so she's flying above the car, and she's still using little bug turn signals to tell people where to go and stuff. She takes the time to have her bugs like eat all the remaining like puke off her, like down to really small levels. It's like funny and disgusting, and it reminds you that there's been puke on her this whole time and stuff. And then she's doing like a thing where to bring as many bugs as possible, she's got all these spider silk threads following behind her, and then bugs are just hanging on for dear life. it's like really funny imagery. I I think she's just kind of like this for a lot of the rest of the chapter. Just has all these bugs sort of trailing along on her. Oh, Skitter. Um, and then they go back to where they had been, where the travelers, Sans, Trickster, and Tattletale, etc., had been, and nobody's there. They have Gully communicate with the heroes, and then there's this moment where Skitter intentionally says that Gully's still in charge, and after like saying let's try and find Tattletale, then Gully agrees that they should find Tattletale, so she does the thing. So they go inside the perimeter. Even in the chapter, this part's a little hand waved. It's just like one set. It's the kind of thing that sometimes they would use a page break for it, but for this they just kind of snap right past it. I don't know. It's interesting sometimes when those sort of choices are made. Like I guess there's no real break in action as long as we do this, but sometimes they want the pacing to be different. Anyway, so they instantly reach the perimeter, because no time narratively has passed. And then they get in there. They don't get sniped by anybody or anything, but Skitter's like, I feel on edge. There are too many heroes around us. This feels like an implicit, dangerous situation for us. But then they go talk to Tattletale. Tattletale's talking to Mirrodin, Miss Militia, and Chevalier, like the triumvirate of secondary members. And she's explaining why they should do the Holden reality plan, and Mirrodin's saying no. And they have some back and forth. There's some we're short on time, and more no's, that kinds of thing. And they, like, Tattletale puts it out there that there might be, like, that Mirrodin's motivation might be Cauldron. We sort of know out of story that Mirrodin is not a Cauldron cape, I think. But I think it's all sort of implied based on how he reacts to different stuff, but I don't think he's a Cauldron cape. Anyway, so some people do react. Skitter says it's less than 20%, So there's some Cauldron presence, but it's not like it's a totally stacked deck. And then Tattletale decides that Mirrodin isn't Cauldron. Miss Militia is saying that she's sort of making problems. Tattletale keeps pushing on this, and then Skitter's like, just focus on what we're doing here. Don't talk about the Cauldron stuff. She's like, I don't know. I think I have to. And Chevalier's like, this looks bad from like a PR standpoint. All this yelling and finger pointing, and then Miss Militia gets violent. She punches Tattletale in the face with a gun, and then she's like doing big, like, gun in your face hold. You know, a whole thing. And then Skitter stops Rachel and Regent from intervening. And Miss Militia is asking if Tattletale, like, why she's doing this. They even question if she might be a clone, which, I mean, we haven't seen any clones who are, like, perfect copies, so bit of a naive question. And then Skitter says no, it's definitely her. And I don't know why she's doing this, but it's, you know, Tattletale just be like this. And then Miss Militia is like, I'm gonna push for the kill order. If you keep talking about Cauldron, you need to calm it down. And then Tattletale starts arguing with her. If you have the kill order on the Undersiders and you kill the people who aren't even here, they're innocent. And then, you know, they have a back and forth about who's innocent about what. And Chevalier again says, like, this looks real bad. And then Miss Militia's like, trust me, man. You just can't trust this Tattletale. She's a wild card, as they say, and too dangerous. You know, then it goes back to Tattletale, and she's like, saying that she's most worried about getting people out of this in one piece, etc. So we're going, you know, back and forth between these people, and they keep casting doubt on Tattletale, etc. And then finally, they decide that if they can, and well, Skitter says the plan should be that they're going to tell a few of them, you know, Mirrodin, Chevalier, and Miss Militia, but nobody else, and then they can disseminate the information as they see fit. You know, they agree to this plan, but not everybody agrees to this plan. There are several people, like Gully, who don't want to leave the area. And she says her reasoning, which makes sense, which is that the answers are on the table now if the Undersiders are dishing secrets. And she can't wait for if Mirrodin decides to tell her the information later. It's a pretty good part. Weld is here too. It's brought up that they're fighting an S-class threat. They go through the list of several Case 53s and how all of them have to deal with these altered forms and the lost memories, the whole package. They say, like, this isn't the time or place, you know, Mirrodin says that, and Gully is just like, if you had to spend an hour in my shoes, you would not be saying that. And this is when the conversation gets kind of cut off because Noelle starts popping up. Active and fighting her way free from a spot they didn't expect because that teleportation Gru is there. So, you know, the ground is shaking and rumbling, and Mirrodin's like, still saying, oh, go to your teams, you can't be here, Gully. And, you know, he's arguing, and Chevalier's being kind of a dick here too. I might agree if it weren't for the dramatic flair Gully was displaying. I don't trust that she will stay quiet on the subject. Come on, Chevalier, you're normally awesome. But I gotta call out, sometimes even Chevalier's a dick. So, they, you know, they hop up, they talk about, oh wait, they're gonna fly for a second. You and I can both fly if we go near a rooftop. No, this is when Tattletale, okay, I thought they were gonna fly for a second. I don't know why I misremembered that they did do, like, start with that, but Tattletale just goes, full tattletale, and she takes Miss Militia's gun, and she's like, kill me if you don't want me to say this, but otherwise, I'm going to say it. And she gives a good little speech to Miss Militia to sort of shut her down, and not actually get killed. She uses the power of being Brattletail to know just enough to say the right things. And she had her whole thing earlier saying Miss Militia's not going to push for the kill order. So she's very sure of that. I was on the previous chapter, but so Tattletale says to the group assembled still, Gully, Weld, and the lower triumvirate, that the triumvirate are actually Cauldron. Oh my god. And Tattletale says at this point it's better to get everything out on the table before she can be totally silenced. And Miss Militia doesn't kill her, even though Skitter kind of expects her to shoot Tattletale. Although, we know Miss Militia. But then Gully is in shock, and she's trying to get answers. And Tattletale's not telling her things she wants to hear. That she might exist to have a built-in weakness for a paying customer, or because she may have been someone who failed to pay the bills, or maybe because she's just a failed experiment. And this is not good news for Gully. All the while,